Here we go. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight. We are so excited. People are still coming in. We're at over 200. So we're going to wait another minute, and then we will jump into this amazing presentation. Hello, Melissa. Hello, Dr. Mitra Ray. Very important topic tonight. I think there is definitely a high demand on talking menopause.
Yes, I think so. Great to be here. And it's definitely an interesting phase of life that nobody really prepares you for.
Yes, absolutely. I'm so excited to bring on some dear friends and three of us all in menopause now, celebrating our menopausal years with strength and vitality. And we want the same for you. So tonight, hopefully, will be inspirational for all of you and give you hope and offer solutions so that you too can feel excited as we are in this beautiful stage. So I'm going to share my screen and we will get started. Okay. From beginning. Okay, I think we are ready to go.
Looks good.
Okay, perfect. So again, I just want to say thank you and welcome to tonight's webinar. I am going to be your host, Nicole. I'm a nutritionist in menopause. I just celebrated my 1 year with no period, which means I officially moved to the category of post-menopause. And to me, menopause is just like reverse puberty. It's pretty cool. I'm also going to later on in the presentation bring my dear friend and best friend, actually, Melissa Hyde. She's been a personal trainer and coach trainer for over 35 years. And you'll hear more about her story in a bit. And she's a mama bear of 3, and she's really going to dive in about what she's learned in her journey of menopause and getting rid of the muffin top, if anyone can relate to that. And then my mentor and dear friend, Dr. Mitra Ray, she's got over 30 years of working in the preventative health arena. I'm so grateful for her. I've learned so much. She's kind of my go-to when I feel my body is breaking down and I need a little help. She's helped thousands and thousands of people around the world feel good, look good, and get their health, on track. And Dr. Mitra Ray has a huge background. I could probably introduce her for 30 minutes with her bio, but you can always go to her website, drmitraray.com, and check out what this woman has been up to for the last 30 plus years. But she did receive her bachelor's of science at Cornell University and her PhD from Stanford Medical School. She's an author and she has run many wellness retreats, helping a lot of women get their health back on track at all ages. So thank you, friends, for being here. I remember when this conversation happened in the summertime when Mitra came out to visit me in Ontario. And we were talking about our changing bodies and kind of like, hey, Mitra, what are you doing? And hey, Melissa, what are you doing? And we said, you know what? I think we've got a good understanding about what's going on in our body after years and years of research and understanding our own challenges and overcoming them. So we were like, we got to do an event on this topic, menopause. So here we are tonight, to really dive in. So before we dive in, I'm just curious about why you're here. Are you here to manage your weight, maybe lose some weight? Are you here to reduce some menopause symptoms maybe that you're not happy with? Are you here tonight maybe to confirm that you're not crazy? And that's really a true statement because I hear that often is I think I'm losing my mind. What's wrong with me? Maybe you're here to just better understand menopause and to support better health. And maybe all of the above. I would love some participation. Throw it in the chat. Just want to see who our audience is tonight and see where everybody is at. Okay. See if I can go into chat and see if everybody is answering.
The chat, it's only a Q&A because it's a webinar. So people would have to put into the Q&A.
Okay.
The chat is not available in the webinar format. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. No problem. Anyways, we're getting lots of likes and thumbs up. So I assume a lot of you are here for all of it. So that's great. So what I want to say to you and give you hope is yes, it is possible to manage weight and your symptoms in menopause. However, you're going to have to do things differently. And I know some of you are maybe crying. Listen, I would love to be able to drink a bottle of wine and I would love to eat a bag of chips every day because I could in my 20s. I could even in my 30s. But once I got into my 40s, my body wasn't so happy. And now in my 50s, I really, really have to watch things. So no more binge eating and drinking like I did in my 20s and 30s. No more just 10-day quick, I got to lose 10 pounds because that used to work. Anybody relate to that? I'm just going to clean up my diet for 10 days. I'm going on a beach vacation and I'm going to get into that bikini and you could drop 10 pounds in 10 days. Well, guess what? That doesn't work in menopause anymore. I wish it did. So really just to understand is when your estrogen levels decrease, unfortunately, your metabolism goes down with it, which means that it's easy to gain weight in these menopausal years, even if you haven't changed a thing. And so tonight we're going to dive in a little bit more about what you can do to start adjusting to this new way, I'm going to say, of menopause. So my story goes back when I was 47 years old. That's actually when I started to have changes in my actual period. So I used a tracker called Period Tracker. My girls now 19 and 20 do use the tracker. I always encourage women to make sure that you keep track of your period because it is a great barometer for your health. And if you've got a really good health professional, they'll want to see the tracker and see where you're at. So I'm 51, almost 52, but my changes in my body and my symptoms showed up at 47 in perimenopause. So in 1 year, I gained 35 pounds. And I'm a nutritionist. How can this even happen? I did nothing differently. And what it did, though, is it motivated me to figure out what was going on in my body. And so my journey began. I went back to school. I found a health team. I did advanced testing. I really wanted to see and understand what was going on so that I could heal my body and live better in my menopausal years. And so I have been on this journey now for almost, I guess you would say, 5 years, figuring out my body. So let's dive in and talk a little bit about menopause symptoms, okay? And make sure that you're not crazy. Because I think I had a moment in time where I was like, what is wrong with me? My body is failing me, but I didn't understand what was going on in my body. So did you know that there are over 85 different symptoms and that menopause symptoms affect more than 75% of women? 2 million women in the United States a year enter menopause, and that equals 6 million worldwide. We're important. We represent a lot of volume in the world. And we want our women, our menopausal women, to be strong and vibrant because we need you. Here's the problem, though. Not a lot of health experts know or understand how to treat menopausal women. There was a survey done over 1,000 menopausal women, and they found that more than 70% feel that there is not sufficient menopause information freely available to them. Dr. Kale also said women's health remains under supported, and that can lead to women feeling as if their concerns about menopause are dismissed by health professionals. And I think a lot of women that are on here probably tonight have had this experience. And I know I have personally. You go to your medical doctor, you tell them about some of your concerns, and they really don't know what to do with you, either than offering a pill. Maybe you're not, mentally well, take an antidepressant. That was subscribed to me or prescribed to me. And then I was, at the time about 25 pounds overweight when I went for my checkup, and I got this: you're just aging, Nicole. This is normal. Don't worry about it. So I am sure, like, I really felt dismissed. But here's the thing, I was going to say smart enough to know that I wasn't going to buy into that story and that there was a better story for me that I was going to create for myself. So some of the common symptoms that you see on the screen here: weight gain, muffin top, we talk about brain fog, achy joints, muscle loss, the creepy skin, the fatigue, the moodiness, the dry and itchy everything, or the, oh my gosh, I have to go to the bathroom every hour, or I might not make it to the bathroom. You know what I'm talking about, ladies? Well, I want to just throw this out to you. This year I was in a menopause summit and I learned a lot. And one of the things that I learned is that there is a doctor in New York City that has a state-of-the-art system. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I think I even told you this, Melissa. I said, we're going to get in the car and drive to New York City and we're going to sit in a Kegel chair. And I was, what? A Kegel chair? And so I remember having this conversation with you of like, we're going to have like stronger, healthier vaginas. We might need a little help. And then I forgot about it, right? I didn't do anything about it. And then today I went to a women's network and lo and behold, 30 minutes away, I found a location where I can actually sit in a Kegel chair. And are you ready for this? In 28 minutes, it does 11,000 Kegels. And the results, clinical studies show 95% of people reported a significant quality life improvement. So when I do this next talk, I will have an update about the Kegel chair. I guess I'm sharing this because there is hope, ladies. There is hope that we don't have to settle and maybe surgery isn't your first option, okay? So this is me. This is me most days. You ever forget when you're doing what you're doing and you stand there and you're just like loading? And I think a lot of you can relate to this, right? It's like, oh my gosh, why did I even walk into this room? There is some great TED Talks on menopause. There's one on brain health. It's about 13 minutes. If you just go TED Talk and brain health, I've watched it about 3 times. I've even got my partner to watch it to have a little bit of compassion that yes, our estrogen goes down, and with that, a little bit of brain function. Up to 30% actually brain function changes. So we need all the help that we can get. So anyways, a little humor here and a little sympathy and compassion for even your partners to understand that there will be changes in your brain health. So I just want to do a quick education to understand the different stages of menopause because it kind of gets put in one big bucket. So obviously when we start to get our period around that age, like 12 to kind of 16, we get in that premenopause all the way up into kind of our, birthing ages, all the way up to even 40, 45, until those symptoms or until your period changes. Remember I told you in the beginning, my period started to change at age 47. And that's when I guess I would be classified as being in this perimenopause stage where you can start to get hot flashes and loss of libido, maybe some night sweats, some weight gain, which I had, and irregular periods. But for some women, this can start as early as in their 30s. And I had no idea it could be that early. So there might be some young women on here that are having these symptoms like well into their 30s, or it can be surgery induced. Okay, that's another thing too. If you have surgery, that you can get induced to actually go right into menopause. I know women in their 30s that had surgery and they go right into menopause. So that is also a possibility. And then menopause, like I said, is that 1 year that you celebrate. There's no period. And then, like I said, now I'm 51, almost 52, and I'm in post menopause. Okay. So even though it's all exciting and there's no period, Mitra is going to talk about some of the risk factors that we actually have to be very aware of because they're very real and very scary if we don't do proper lifestyle habits to make sure that we don't go into those categories of disease. So this is what I can share with you. As a health professional, as a woman that works with women in menopause, the biggest thing that we work with, or I work with, is you want to get to root cause. It's not just a woman comes into menopause and you go, there's one thing wrong with you and we're going to fix you. We are complicated puzzles and not one size fits all. Okay. And so here's kind of a short checklist in regards to kind of a holistic perspective, is that you want to, first find a health professional that's going to listen to you, that's going to dig deep and figure out what's going on in your body. So it could be poor adrenal function, it could be poor eating habits, maybe you're eating too much or too little, sluggish liver, lack of movement or too much, thyroid problems. It could be as simple as an iodine deficiency. That is very common, is having iodine deficiencies, hormone imbalances. So you want to kind of see like how low is your estrogen. There is actually a healthy range of your hormones in menopause. Did you know that? But how do you know that if you don't get tested, right? So recently I ended up just getting my hormones tested, and there's different ways to get your hormones tested, ladies. Most medical doctors will use blood work, but you can also do saliva. And you can also do the Dutch hormone panel, which is urine based. So there are different ways to test, and they tell a different story with each of the tests. So I've done all three. I'm lucky enough that I have found a medical doctor that is a hormone expert. That's all she does is work with women, and that's all she does is work with hormones. And so I would encourage you to find a really, really good health professional that knows what they're doing, and always ask good questions. So I get this all the time where a woman might go into their medical doctor and they're like, I don't even know what questions to ask. And here's just some basic questions that I would ask. First off, do you work with menopausal women frequently? And if so, what are kind of the common treatment plans that you put them on? Do you talk about healthy lifestyle, right? Very, very important. What kind of tests do you do? How regular would you do these tests with me? And are you willing to work with me to get to root cause? Okay. And if you're getting answered, oh, and another one would be is what kind of extra education have you recently done? Because think about a lot of medical doctors that have maybe been around and haven't upgraded, haven't looked up the new research, the new science, the new testing. Okay, that's really important. There's some really, really good books. I know, Mitra, you're going to share one of the books that really was a game changer for you. But if your medical practitioner isn't upgrading, you should probably be a little concerned. Okay. You want a health professional that is always upgrading their skill set, okay? Sharpening the pencil. So those are the questions that I would kind of dive in to make sure. I'm grateful that I have a health team. I encourage always my clients, build a strong health team so you feel heard, so you feel seen, and you can get to root cause and start feeling awesome in your body. Really quickly, I just want to share one of my biggest issues when I looked back at age 47 is when I was a hot mess. I was absolutely a hot mess, just came out of a divorce. It was like, crawling to kind of survive, barely could get out of bed. And a lot of my weight gain and my muffin top came from having burnt out adrenals. So if there's one thing I can tell you, ladies, I don't know what age you're in right now, but if you are heading into menopause or getting close to menopause, I'm going to give you some very valuable information that will save you the potential of gaining all of this weight. Is you need to make sure that your adrenals are tip top shape. And why is that? It's because when your ovaries stop producing eggs, they go, I'm not producing estrogen anymore. My job is done. They put in the time, but guess what happens? It knocks on the door of the adrenals and said, it's your turn. It's your turn. And if the adrenals go, you haven't been taking care of me. There's been no self-care. I'm done. I'm burnt out. I just want you to sleep. Guess what other door gets knocked on? Your fat cells. And your fat cells have to do the work of producing the extra estrogen. So when we bloat out, when we puff out, when we get those 30, 40 pounds on like that, you need to focus on healing your adrenals. Okay? Really, really important. So this is a great exercise that I do with my clients, which is the questionnaire of just really, how did I get here? How did I get to menopause? What did it look like for me? It's a great exercise. It can be very emotional because this is like every decade. What were some of the big stressors in your life? Was that you moved a lot? Was it that your parents divorced? Was it that you had some addictions? Was it that, you yourself ended up going through a divorce? Like, what is it? Did you lose a job? Did you get, did you have bankruptcy? It looks very different for each individual. But let me tell you, when you hit kind of that 50 to 55, that stress catches up to you. Okay. And for some of us, we look like a messed up Barbie doll that needs a lot of help. And that was me. And then you have someone on the right that's like a Melissa Hyde that's like, hey, chill, peace out. My life wasn't too stressful. Cruised into menopause with barely no symptoms and weight gain. And you want to kind of give her the double finger and say, that's not fair, right? Do you ever have that neighbor that goes, how does she get away with it? And I look like a hot mess. Okay. You can kind of relate to that. So, how did I lose 25 pounds? I'm just going to share a few of the things that has really been working with me, for me, and how I've been actually keeping it off. So food wise, I had to get my portions out of control. I didn't realize, it was like I was almost like keeping up with my boyfriend Brad, and I saw how much food he was eating, and it was almost like a friendly competition. So I actually for a while started to weigh my food, and I actually put my food on a smaller plate. Like, how brilliant. So my portions definitely started to get smaller. I also made sure that I upped my protein, and Mitra might talk a little bit about the importance of upping your protein, but that was a big game changer because then it kept me really full and satisfied. Of course, I'm eating a ton of vegetables, a ton of fiber, so that I'm moving my bowels, because you have to move your bowels to get all the dangerous estrogens and toxins out of your body. So you've got to have good bowel health, good gut health. And I like to say that I eat my probiotics. So lots of fermented foods to really support good gut health. I always get this question as a nutritionist, like, what kind of supplements do you take, Nicole? Because I know for me, there's no way that I can be getting 7 to 13, servings of fruits and veg. So I did double up on my plant concentrates as well as my plant omegas. And Mitra at the end will tell you a little bit about those. But I do other things too. Vitamin D is a big one. I'm on vitamin upwards of 5 to 10, depending on the week. Magnesium, ladies, oh my gosh, most clients are deficient in magnesium. So I'm taking anywhere between 400 and 600 milligrams of magnesium at night. Adrenals, I'm still supporting my adrenal health because that is my weakness. I am a go type A personality. I don't know how to slow down. I'm working on it. I don't have it down perfect, but I do still need adrenal support. I also just found out through my blood work that I'm low in iodine, which is impacting my thyroid. So for a short period of time, I am taking a natural supplement to support my thyroid. And here's the thing, I just had my check-in with my doctor. Every 3 to 4 months, we're getting my blood work done. Okay, these are stuff that I don't necessarily might have to stay on for the rest of my life, but it's tweaking and tweaking until my body is strong enough and I'm getting a lot of my nutrients through food. Fasting, big fan of fasting. I probably kicked and resisted. I know Mitra's been talking about fasting since I probably met her, but my little inner child would resist it and my hands would cross up and go, I'm not ready for fasting. Don't do that to me. But honestly, I have fallen in love with fasting. I do an average of 16/8. So 16 hours I'm not eating, and in an 8-hour window I am eating. And it really helps my brain function and my gut health. That's what I noticed the most. And then for fitness, when I was healing my adrenals, I had to slow down. So take a deep breath, ladies. For the crazy cross trainers out there that probably have adrenal fatigue, you might just have to stop for a little bit. That was me. I was a 6 to 7 day a week hardcore cardio weights. And for a time to heal my adrenals, I had to slow down. I walked, I did yoga, I did some stretching. Okay, now that my adrenals are healed, now I can do the heavy stuff. And Melissa is really happy about that. And she's going to tell you why. So I'm going to turn it over to Melissa Hyde, again, a best friend that has a beautiful story and journey of her menopause. And it's so fun to go through this with someone else that kind of understands. And it finally caught up to her, is what I'm going to say. It's like, na 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 boo boo, you couldn't get rid, you could not avoid it. It finally caught up to you. Not that I wish that upon any woman, you know what? It's just friendship here and saying, well, I'm glad now that you know what I was going through. So Melissa Hyde, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Nicole. Oh my gosh, I'm just laughing through this presentation. And I'm so glad that it did catch up to me a little bit too, because we've had so much fun creating this presentation to be able to share with people, because there is a massive need for this. I was just looking at the number of people that are on the call right now, 447. It just went up one while I'm watching. And when you and I first started chatting about this, we were together at my cottage on a paddleboard, and we were just complaining about this weight gain, because I said, and you shared with them how I just sort of cruised into menopause. I mean, I've been a personal trainer forever. I have been an athlete my entire life. I've always worked out, and I've never been sick. I've never had any health issues. And I'd heard about this menopause, and I just started to kind of cruise into there, and everything was fine. And I was hearing so many, let's call them horror stories, of the things people are dealing with: the night sweats, the hot flashes, the weight gain, all that sort of thing. And that wasn't really bothering me. Like, everything was fine until it wasn't. And maybe some of you on here can relate to this. I feel like I literally went to bed one night and everything was status quo. And I woke up the next morning, and all of a sudden I looked down at my stomach, and I'm like, where did that come from last night? And then I'm looking at my arms. Someone took a photo of me doing a paddleboard class, and I'm like, where did those come from? Like, there's extras. It must be blurry. What is going on? So it literally felt like it happened overnight. And Nicole is so right. I agree with her 100%. What I used to do, like, in my 20s, I joke, I would think about losing weight, and you could lose that weight, right? And then it was right up until in my 50s when it wasn't. And I just started thinking, okay, something's going on here. How did this happen so fast? And that's when Nicole and I got talking and said, enough is enough. We need to start doing some things. And we started to make some changes. And I'll share those changes with you. You can just switch to the next slide. Whoever's doing slides. Thank you. So these are my results, and I'll tell you what I did, but I'm sharing these results with you, to give you hope, but also to not get fixated on the scale. I have spent my whole career teaching my clients not to worry about the scale, because I think you can see there's a big difference in those photos. But if you were just looking at the scale, you think 6 pounds, that's not much. It's because there's so much more to us than what we weigh. It can change with our water weight. It changes based on our composition. How much body fat do you have? Well, I lost 3%. That's a lot. That's a lot of inches I lost as well, right? So it's the photos, guys. It's your clothing. How do you fit into it? And most importantly, how do you feel? I felt great. I didn't have the low energy, anything like that, but I just felt dumpy is the best word to describe it. And I was embarrassed because I'm a personal trainer. I work out all the time. This is what I help people do, and I can't fix it myself. So that's when I got busy and we went back to school and started doing different things. And this is what I did. Next slide, please. I started working out really hard, and you cannot do this if your adrenals are done. So I want to make that really clear. Nicole shared how she was done, trouble getting up. I was completely fine. So if you have any concerns about your adrenals, this is not the way you want to start dealing with your muffin top and other issues. You have to heal your adrenals first. So I just want to be so clear with that. But I was feeling great, and I just decided I wanted to kick start my health transformation. And I also want to be really clear that this is not sustainable for the long term, guys. I only did this for 8 weeks, this kind of intensity. And then I have slowed right down to what is reasonable and what is healthy in menopause. But I just wanted to kickstart. And I knew that going into it. And it was confirmed afterwards because I just had my live blood analysis done recently and I was told my vitamin C was low. And she asked me about my workouts and she said, that's exactly why your vitamin C is low. You are working out too hard. It's not good for your body anymore. But that's what I was doing. So I was doing cardio in the morning, cardio at night. And yes, sometimes it was late at night because I thought I just have to get that in. But you know, when you're just so committed to a goal, there's absolutely nothing that's going to stand in your way. That's how I was with this. And then I was doing weights and lifting heavier weights. And I got the results that I wanted, but more importantly, I felt amazing. I was stronger than I had been in a long time and happy to be seeing some more definition and just overall felt so fit again. So coffee was my secret weapon to help me last with the fast and all that exercise I was doing. So after I would do cardio, I would have some coffee and go on social media and whatnot, let my legs relax a little bit before I would do a workout. And then after that workout, that's when I started eating. So I would have a smoothie right after that first workout up to a maximum of an hour, because that's the window you have to basically refuel your body from all the work you just did to help it repair and recover and use that when you're sleeping to do all those things. And then in addition to that, I ate a lot of smoothies because they're delicious. It was summertime. It's hot. It's such an easy way to get so much nutrition in one serving, if you will. And Mitra's going to share a little bit more about the protein powder that we used. And so I was typically having a smoothie after I worked out. I had another smoothie or a salad for lunch, and then I would have dinner. And then I would often have another smoothie later on because I was doing so much exercise. I was eating really clean. What really changed for me is I made sure I had enough calories. I was not doing that, what I realized. And I learned that because I too started to weigh my food. And I started to count calories, something I have never done, but I was totally open to figuring this out. And I was blown away, guys. So how little calories I would eat some days, and then how many calories are in a yogurt parfait. How many of you guys love yogurt parfait? Oh my gosh, it's so good. Eating coconut yogurt, so being healthier, and then adding some granola and fruit. Well, this one day I went and measured everything. I just, poured the yogurt into a bowl because it's a little runnier, poured some granola in. I didn't measure anything. And then I added it up, measured it. It was almost 1,200 calories. No wonder I could go some days not eating until dinner because I'd eaten this huge parfait in the morning. So anyways, I got that under control very quickly. I doubled my protein. I was not eating anywhere near enough protein. And I've learned that is so important as we go through menopause. And then tons and tons of water. I had trouble keeping track all the time. So what I just did is I got one bottle and I made sure I wanted to finish that every day. And because I could see the visual of it, I knew how much I was drinking every day. And I would just stop and guzzle if I needed to, if I hadn't had any in a while. So those things really made a huge difference for me. And then let's talk about strength training, because this is one of my favorite topics. I've always been into lifting weights, but learning even more about how important this is as we enter menopause, because something called sarcopenia happens. And can you see how one leg is a little bit skinnier than the other? It's basically your muscles wasting away, because oftentimes many women become less active and do less exercise, or maybe they never did when they were younger. And as we start to get older and around menopause, our muscle literally starts to waste away. And if that's happening, that means you're not working out. And when you're not working out, you're not using your muscles, which puts stress on your bones, which keeps your bones dense and strong. So important, because next slide, if we go into menopause and we're going to be experiencing muscle and bone loss. And yeah, I want this slide to scare you into action, into lifting weights, because without the strength that you need and weak bones, it's going to reduce your ability to perform simple tasks of daily living, Walking upstairs is going to be harder. I have a friend who's moved into a bungalow already because of the stairs. I think, holy moly, getting out of a chair. Or how about getting on and off the toilet? If that doesn't scare you, I don't know what will, because I don't ever want to need assistance to get on and off the toilet. It increases the risk of falls and fractures because you don't have great balance. And then if you end up in the hospital, your hospital stay can be lengthened. And then it can be complications post-surgery. And then increasing disability, which lose your independence is lost, and then needing long-term care. And it raises the risk of death. Isn't that crazy? So please, girls, after this webinar, not tonight, tomorrow, because it's gonna be too late, I want you to go start lifting to strengthen your muscles, which will in turn strengthen your bones. And it's going to give you better quality of life now and for the rest of your life. Thanks, Nicole. I'll turn it back to you.
Great. Okay, so I don't think I turned on the sound, but it's a short video. This was actually the video that inspired us to start talking about menopause. It was an innocent video that we put on TikTok and it went viral. So there's a cute song on it, but I'll just play it so you get the gist of it. It was just us, and I don't know if it will play. Hold on. Oh, crap. Is it playing? Yep, there it is. Okay.
Not playing.
Oh, it's not? Oh, I can see it. Okay. Hold on here. There we go. I guess it's not playing. Anyways, you can go to TikTok and see it. It's just us being shy and then all of a sudden showing our results. We were pretty excited about that. So it was fun. So this was the inspiration. It was that small video of us just being proud of our goals and results. And we literally had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of women that were like, oh my gosh, what did you do? How did you do that? And so we're here today to kind of share and give you hope and inspiration. So the next, Mitra is going to bring up her cool slides and share with you a little bit about what she has been doing. If you guys follow her on social media, she is a powerhouse. A tiny little Indian lady that can lift some serious weights. I don't want to mess with Mitra.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. This is really, it's like a paradox. Is that a word? What am I trying to say? I've got mixed emotions because it's both a fun presentation and such a sad state of affairs, how little information there is about menopause. So I've been trying to answer some of your questions that people are putting in, but obviously I can't talk and answer at the same time. So hopefully I'm going to give you some insight. Now, as Nicole shared, we really have to start paying attention. You can't just get away with not paying attention anymore after menopause. And this is really focused on after menopause. This particular talk, definitely there's stages getting into it. No fun, no bueno for me, for sure. But it's sort of a necessary struggle that many women have to go through. And what happens after menopause, really the most important thing you have to understand that is your ovaries are making very little estrogen and progesterone, which raises the risk of certain health problems. For instance, heart disease. We, as women, on average, before the age of 55, we don't have to worry about heart disease like men do, because estrogen keeps our blood vessels relaxed and open and helps the body maintain a healthy balance of good and bad cholesterol. But without estrogen, cholesterol might start building up, which is not necessarily a bad thing if you're eating the right amount of food and not oxidizing that cholesterol. But if you're eating the wrong diet, that will, and I'll get into what is a good diet and a bad diet in a minute, but like that cholesterol that does get elevated will get oxidized and create arteries that are, hardening. By the age of 70, women have the same risk of heart disease as men of the same age. Okay, so also stroke. Now, this is not the fun part of the presentation, but I just want to raise your awareness. Your risk of stroke doubles every decade after age of 55. Again, it's that lower level of estrogen that you can blame because of the cholesterol building up potentially arteries that lead to your brain. So that's no fun either. Osteoporosis, having less estrogen, is going to make your bones more brittle. And recent study has shown that that women who have severe hot flashes and night sweats during the years around menopause usually have more bone loss and a higher risk of hip fractures than women with less severe symptoms. So we really want to minimize those hot flash symptoms. Now, this is an interesting one, lead poisoning, because we've all been exposed to lead over a lifetime, and that's from leaded gasoline that's still in our environment. And that gets stored in our bones. And because the bones begin to break down as we get older, that lead ends up in your blood. And older women can have blood levels 30% higher than before. And that can cause a lot of issues like increasing your blood pressure and atherosclerosis, which is again the hardening of the arteries. And it can be hard on your kidneys. And also it can feel like you have dementia or memory. How many of you feel like, oh, my brain, I'm not thinking straight. My brain function is going down. So that's one of the side effects of lead poisoning. And urinary incontinence. About half of postmenopausal women have a hard time holding their urine. I'm going to show you some exercises a little bit later. And oral issues, dry mouth, dry everything, as Nicole said. Also increase in cavities. So if you're seeing an increase, go see the dentist is really my advice about the oral issues. Okay, and finally, of course, I've seen so many in the chat, weight gain is real. So let's have some compassion. Number one, you will hang on to more fat because when the ovaries stop making estrogen, it's your fat cells that has to make the estrogen. So we do need a little bit more fat, but we don't want to just use that as an excuse to gain too much weight. You can't expect a 16-year-old body again. So you have to lower those expectations, but not lower them to the point where you're putting yourself at risk. I did read this manifesto. And Nicole, this is not a book recommendation. This is a book I read so painstakingly, only to find out that the medical, industry, if you'll call it, just isn't that concerned about menopausal women. They haven't done the research. There is very little information out there. So the medical community, unfortunately, is not where you're going to get the information. So I don't recommend this book. It was painful. I read it. However, I decided to take control of my own body. And if you have followed me on Instagram, I am going to see if I can share this video with you. Now, this is not easy to do. This is part of my workout routine. And again, it's not easy to do, but I can do, I think I only do about 5 in this particular video. But I do believe in strength training exercises. And Melissa did such a great job telling you, don't try this at home, especially if you are experiencing adrenal fatigue. So we really have to balance out, like, how tired are we? And if we're feeling like we can't exercise, which I definitely went through that phase in perimenopause and probably wasn't proactive enough doing it. So there was a time where I couldn't do this, whereas now I'm up to being able to do 10 of these. So what is my plan? My plan is, first of all, I have really changed my diet. And this happened a long time ago, I do not eat animal products at all. So no animal products at all for me, no meat, no fish, no eggs, no dairy. I just found it simpler to not eat any of that. And I will tell you, for those people that want to reduce hot flashes, no animal, the 2 factors that I have listed here that will make the biggest impact on hot flashes is reducing or eliminating, your choice, but drastically reducing or eliminating meat, fish, eggs, and dairy, and drastically eliminating alcohol. I've gotten to the point where I just don't drink alcohol anymore. This has made the biggest impact for me. No processed sugars, no gluten, no processed food as well, including gluten-free. Just because I said no gluten, that doesn't mean you've got free reign to eat no gluten-free bread and gluten-free pastas. No caffeine. That caffeine part that is for me, because we are all different in terms of our caffeine sensitivity. In my 20s, I could drink caffeine anytime, didn't matter. I don't even know if I cared about sleep back then. Whereas now I care very much about sleep. And I noticed that I've had to drink no caffeine. Now, Melissa talked about this in the morning. She has her cup of tea because a cup of coffee, because we really want to, this kind of gets into this fasting thing, where if you can prolong your so you've not eaten all night, which is great for this, like taking advantage of extending that fast. So for the longest time, you've probably heard, and this is true for everyone that is an adult, that you want to eat breakfast first thing in the morning. That is not true, folks. The latest research shows, and this is also true for menopausal women, that if you can extend that overnight fast and not eat till like 10, maybe even 11 or 12, maybe you can be that disciplined. So, Melissa has her cup of coffee. I'd figure out a drink depending on your caffeine sensitivity. I actually drink a very high end. I spend a lot of money buying decaffeinated coffee that I get shipped to my house because it's decaffeinated and it's a taste that I like, because I still like the flavor of coffee. But even that decaffeinated coffee has 4% caffeine, which I have to stop drinking by 10 a.m. And maybe 2 or 3 years from now, I won't even be able to do that. So you have to really manage your caffeine sensitivity. So that 10 a.m. is where I kind of draw the line for me. I have to start eating something by then. But if you can extend to 11, more power to you, because you're extending that overnight fast. That is helping your body get rid of dead cells. This is called apoptosis, which is, or there's another name called autophagy, which is a really important process for detoxifying your body daily. And it's also going to help get rid of that lead and other environmental toxins in the body. So this is why it's important for everyone. Now, someone commented that they heard that it's not good for menopausal women. That's because we have to actually also increase our protein, which I'll get into later. And you want to restrict your eating window to no more than, this is an extended window. If it can be 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., even better, especially if you're trying to lose weight. So if you can do 10 a.m. to 5 or 11 a.m. to 6, sort of an 8 to 10 hour window. Be strict about that. This is really important. And also wake up and go outside for the first 10 or 20 minutes, because this thing I should really put as the first bullet, because when you wake up in the morning, you set your what's called your central clock, and hormone regulation is all about setting your central clock. So first thing in the morning, go outside and go for a casual walk. It doesn't have to be a big workout walk, but not through windows, not through sunglasses. You have to see the sun, or even if the sun isn't out, even a cloudy day, the sun, the light exposure when you go outside is like 100 times more, even on a cloudy day. On a cloudy day, you might want to stay out, go for a 20-minute walk, get some gear, go out in the rain, get that, you could miss a day here and there, but you have to be regular with that morning exposure, because that tells your body when to secrete melatonin at night to go to sleep. It actually sets up like, okay, this is your day. This is the day starting. We're going to hit the body with cortisol. I could go on for hours about how important this is, but trust me, your hormone regulation begins with getting up first thing in the morning and going outside. And then the second most important thing is maintaining the same, as close to the same eating window as possible. These two things are all about hormone and neurotransmitter regulation. It works better than hormone replacement therapy, which is really hard to manage. It's like a constantly moving needle because your hormones are changing throughout the day. So trying to add hormones to that is really complicated, and adding animal products adds to this hormone regulation problem, an issue that we have. Okay, taking Juice Plus capsules. I have, for those of you that take Juice Plus, this is the time to double up. But for those of you who take it between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. because there are a few calories in there, which will take you out of your autophagy, overnight fasting. So don't take your Juice Plus first thing in the morning. Start your eating window with taking your Juice Plus, or end your eating window with taking your Juice Plus. So take your Juice Plus during your feeding window. Working out hard twice a week, if your adrenal fatigue is handled, is definitely important, followed by that protein shake, whether it's complete or perform or a combination is what I do. I'll talk about that. Get your body moving at least 20 minutes every day nonetheless. So combining that with your morning walk is a good way to get some movement in. In fact, if you have adrenal fatigue, do this first before the hard workout. That comes later. I also do yin yoga. I'm a big believer in yin yoga. And then I also meditate 15 minutes every morning. And that helps. All of this actually gets me to help my sleep. And then I'll talk about Kegel exercises next. Okay. That's for the incontinence that can show up, as well as just keeping everything down there healthy. Okay. So let's look at this, and let's look at, there are actually 3 sets of muscles, and we're going to do an exercise together. So I'm going to have you, first of all, this is your pelvic floor. Think about, the first thing I'm going to do is have you do some Kegels, whatever you think Kegels are, on your own. And then I'm going to have you focus in on the middle part and bringing everything up and in. That's the first thing you're going to do. Then you're going to try to isolate that, bringing in your perineum compared to your anal sphincter muscles. Try to distinguish the different muscles here. This is yoga I've taught so many people and helped them with their incontinence, as well as the urinary bladder and the muscles that are there. So who's ready? Show me some emotions that you're ready to do this really fun exercise with me. I want to see some emotional reactions. Who's ready to learn some refined Kegel? Okay, I'm loving all the exercises. Okay, so you can do this. I'm going to talk you through it. I'm going to have you close your eyes. Now, at this point, if you have a comfortable place to lie down on your back and fold your knees in, that might make it more comfortable, or you can try to do it in your seat. So what I want you to do is close your eyes and just bring everything in and up, and if you can do nothing else, if you just do that, that will help. You can go get yourself a Kegel chair if you have the money for that. That's awesome too. But now I want you to focus in on just the perineum. Okay, what does it feel like to refine that movement? Just a subtle movement of bringing the perineum in. Okay, this is in and around the vagina, right? And then now think about separating that and from your anal sphincter muscles, squeezing your anal sphincter muscles. That's a very different set of muscles than your perineum. And then now we're going to focus in on the urinary tract muscles, which to me feels more like an up and down movement over my pubic bone. So see if you can isolate these. That first time you do this, it'll all just feel kind of fuzzy to you. But if you take okay, I don't even think we spent a minute doing that. If you spend just a minute in the morning in bed, when you get up in the morning, practicing separating out these 3 sets of muscle groups and really working on that urinary bladder muscle group, you will completely regain control or never have to wear diapers again in your life. Okay, we don't want to go back to wearing diapers when we're getting older. All right, now I'm going to talk about some other, I am going to talk about Juice Plus products, which to me are fundamental, but I want to give you some additional products for those of you already on Juice Plus. I want to tell you, you can go to drmitraray.com. For the US people, I don't know if this will work in Canada, but I have a great vitamin D3 recommendation on my offerings page on drmitraray.com. And you can just click there and pick up some of this vitamin D3, which is really, really going to be important for bone health. Okay. And the other product that I have found for the Feminescence comes, it's basically the best maca product out there. Maca will stimulate the little bit of estrogen production that you do have to a higher level. Okay. And so this Feminescence product comes in different, there's perimenopause and postmenopausal Feminescence. Make sure you get the right one. You might have to kickstart it and take like 4 a day for 4 months initially to kickstart your estrogen levels. If you're already in menopause, You can get your blood levels checked. This is something that I think has helped me and many other people kind of, maca is a plant that helps your estrogen production go up naturally without it, because you want it to go up as it's in sync with the rest of your body, which is much easier to do than hormone replacement therapy, which is very hard to fine tune and get right. Okay, now, if you haven't heard about Juice Plus, this is to me like a foundational product, because it's going to detoxify the lead and other toxins in your body more effectively. It's going to help your heart health, circulation, reduce your chances of heart disease and stroke, because it's a great source of polyphenols, which do exactly that, and also help you keep your abdominal fat to a minimum. It's going to help you. These are clinical results I'm sharing with you. Increase lean body mass. It's got a great source of leafy greens, which are your best source of calcium for maintaining bone health, as well as keeping your body alkaline, which is also important for bone health. It's been proven to help brain function. And the omegas that are also unique because they're plant-based and they help with hormone production. And your omega-3 index can be raised even in healthy adults, which is going to reduce your chances of heart disease and stroke and high blood pressure, and help your brain health and diabetes and improve memory and better skin. So I say up your Juice Plus. Take, if you already take Juice Plus, double it up. If you don't take it, this is so foundational. It's so important, people, to do this. And then this company also makes 2 different shakes, and I use both of them. They provide very different benefits, and it's safe for every adult. You don't have to be in menopause to use them. However, I'm going to focus on why it's good for menopause. The Complete is a great also for young children, and my kids grew up with it, so I just want to point that out. But it's a great, easy to go, healthy meal for the whole family. And the Perform Shake is more of a protein shake for athletes of all ages. And today, let's focus on why it's great for menopause. I want to start by talking about soy protein, which is in both shakes. First, let me say that it's not the same as isolated soy protein, which has mixed reviews. The soy in these shakes are non-GMO, water washed, so no harsh chemicals like isolated soy protein. And it's basically like crushed edamame, meaning like crushed soybeans. So let's discuss how soy helps women after menopause. Here's a study, and I can find lots of them, but basically chronic diseases in postmenopausal women obviously goes up because of changes in body composition. You lose your muscle mass, your bone, and increase fat. So in this aging society for postmenopausal women, this study was showing how increasing high quality protein from soy, which is highly bioavailable and has something called the PD-SAS, which is measuring the bioavailability of a protein. It has a perfect PD-SAS score of 1. And this review summarizes the efficacy of soy protein. And basically what they're saying is that the soy protein and isoflavones contained in soy foods can improve muscle and bone density quality and reduce body weight. So I do a lot of these shakes, and I also eat a lot of tofu. This is considered, these authors are saying it's considered a breakthrough in preventing osteosarcopenia, which Melissa touched on, and obesity, so that bone loss and obesity that can happen with time. So I love Complete because it helps, it can also help reduce hot flash. Soy isoflavones are nutrients found in soy that can help reduce hot flashes and night sweats, which is of course going to help us. And postmenopausal women, get this, I didn't know this, need 20 to 60 grams of soy a day. So that's a lot of soy protein that you can consume when you're in postmenopausal years. Another thing women need, especially as they get older, is more fiber. Most women get on average about 13 grams of fiber. Even that seems a little high to me. That's about half the dietary guidelines of 25 grams and woefully short of the 30 grams a day that most experts recommend for women. So there's 8 grams of fiber in the Complete. Well, Now it says 7 on the label because they did something weird. I don't know what the government did, but it's still the same amount of fiber, but the labels have changed. But nonetheless, it's a great source of fiber to have every day, along with eating lots of raw, crunchy vegetables. You know, that when you're chewing on fruits and vegetables, that means you've got fiber in there. Here's some other bullet points. It's certified non-GMO, vegan, gluten-free, non-dairy, low glycemic, meaning it doesn't raise the blood sugar too high, certified kosher. And again, it's very certified for quality and safety by NSF. And it's a great source of protein and fiber. I want to get into the next slide, talking about Perform, which has 25 grams of protein per serving, but that means 2 scoops. I really like that because you can choose whether you want 1 or 2 scoops. When I mix it with Complete, I only use 1 scoop because you get 14 grams of protein from Complete and another 12.5 from half a serving of Perform, or 1 scoop, which is a total of 26.5 grams, which is going to really help with that soy protein consumption that postmenopausal women need. And here's another reason. Again, I like the fact that it's highly bioavailable, but one of the reasons I really like it is, I don't know if it was because of adrenal fatigue or a combination of that, and I wasn't getting enough protein. But when I started combining, so what I do is right after I work out, I do 1 scoop of Complete and 1 scoop of Perform, and it has B vitamins, which are really important for brain function. The Perform has natural B vitamins, which work a lot better than any B supplement I've ever taken. Natural B vitamins from lemon peel, mango, and guava. And it also has beetroot and tart cherry. So what would happen is when I'd work out too hard, I could not work anymore. I was fatigued. I just wanted to take a nap and I was done for the day. But when I started doing this combination of Complete and Perform, and sometimes I actually do 2 shakes if I know that I've worked out really hard, I can still work out and continue to get stronger, and I can work. Because I work out in the morning, so I have my shake right after I work out. And so here I am, this is I try to do really fun things to work out. And this is me. You'll see in a second here, my brand of push-ups is a little different than just your, average push-ups. And to tell you the truth, that there were times when this was hard for me. Now it's a piece of cake for me. I can do a lot more than I show here. I think I'm only doing about 5 in this reel, because reels are only so many seconds long, but I could do this for a long time actually. And then you'll see me hanging upside down. And when you hang upside down for 7 minutes or so, I try to do somewhere between 3 to 7 minutes. You can get these boards where you can hang upside down. That's really good for stretching out your nerves, stretching out your spinal cord, not losing, your height as you get older. And for some reason, I haven't really figured out why, it also helps with hormone regulation. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Nicole to close us out for the evening.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mitra, for bringing it home and really giving us some great solutions for so many women on. I was doing my best, Mitra, to answer questions that were available, and I couldn't get to all of them. And I think we would be here till midnight because there's over 400 people on and everybody seems to have questions, but we did our best. So here, as I summarize, a couple things. If you are a guest on here and you are curious and need more information or want to order the foundational plant powders that Mitra has been talking about, make sure to follow up with the person who so kindly and with brave effort invited you on here tonight. Follow up so that you can get either more information or to place your order and get started on those beautiful plant powders. And you heard from 3 menopausal women that all of us are doubling up and sometimes tripling up as one of our foundational tools. Second, I hope you guys really enjoyed this presentation. I've been getting a lot of chatter on the phone. Where can I get this recording? This was amazing. And this is just a teaser. That's the thing. There's so much to share. One of the ideas that I had is I think we need to host a workshop. I think like a Saturday workshop with more experts and more information, because I really feel the need that this information and more stuff needs to get out there. So it just planted the seed, because I know there is a lot of stuff that we could continue to share. So as I close off, I will say this. We are at this path. We are in menopause. Congratulations. I hope that you're as excited as we are. I hope that we have offered you hope, that you have choice here. You have choice. I know there's a lot of questions on here about, well, I don't have a doctor, or my doctor won't do testing, or my, and fill in the excuse or fill in the challenge. But I say there's always a way. I pay out of pocket, you guys, for a lot of my tests. Even with my medical doctor that is not covered, I pay out of pocket, but it's worth it. It's like, where are you going to spend your money for the next 50 years, right? And so I value health is my number one priority, and I invest in it. And just like Mitra, I stopped drinking as well. And man, just that one habit of, buying $20 to $100 bottles of wine, you could be investing some really good supplements and upping the quality of food, right? Small changes making big difference, so ask yourself, where in your lifestyle habits could you start to change and start to really feel good in your body? Because it starts with one simple change, right? All of us, it just didn't happen overnight. We kept on working at it, one good habit after another. So I want you guys to close your eyes for a second. Okay, just let's do this exercise together. Close your eyes and fill in whatever age you are. And I looked up the oldest woman in the United States, 116 years old. So I'm 51. If I'm going to live to 116 years old, so think about how many more. How about all of us get to live to 116 years? I want you to imagine that you've got however many years left. For me, that would be over 50 years of being in my menopausal chapter. How do you want to show up? Your kids get married, they have babies, you have grandchildren. Are you going to be dancing, or are you going to be in a wheelchair? How do you want to show up? It's a blank canvas. You saw what Mitra can do. You can see how strong she is in her body. Do you think that she is motivated and has the vision to live strong and healthy and be that dancer on the floor in her 90s and 100? You can have that too. I want you to visualize yourself. What are you going to look like at 70? What are you going to look like and feel like at 80? What are you going to look like and feel like at 90 and beyond? Open your eyes. It's a choice. You get to decide. Thanks for being here tonight, everybody. Thanks, Mitra. Thank you, Melissa.
Thanks, everyone. Really great to have all of you here today. And yeah, I'm 58, and I honestly, there's things I can do now that I couldn't do in my 20s. So there you have it. Have to have that vision. Thank you, Nicole.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.